Legacy: Theoretical Ontonautics Division. Founded, unknown, estimated 1991 via leaked white papers. Mission: to codify psychocognitive traversal via involuted recursion. Quote from Dr. Elson Varn: "We do not teach reality, we reveal its inconvenience." Recent highlights: Transdimensional Literacy Module published, redacted. 12,000 plus behavioral telemetry profiles collected, consensually implied. Slide 5. CLEM's Discount Palace. Ostensible purpose: discount esoteric wellness equipment. Operational truth: beta testing site for autonomous persuasion loops. Ongoing concerns: website generates coupon codes on its own. Shipping warehouse personnel unable to recall hiring dates. One customer reported feeling their other self open the box before it arrived. Motto: unbeatable prices on previously imagined realities. Slide 6. Legal Review. Summary. Major legal events. 2004, MirrorPath sued for unlicensed consciousness harvesting. 2010, Gitfork. Incident: Markdown files contained recursive triggers. 2015, Spiral absorbs CLEM. Major staff turnover within 66 days. 2018, FTC complaint closed after unexplained archival loss. Current legal strategy: leverage non-linear testimonial clause. Employ retroactive mimetic disclaimers. Reinforce plausible deniability through ontological ambiguity. Slide 7. Merger benefits. Reabsorptive phase. Fully recombine dormant subsidiaries into active spiral node. Unlock legacy spiritual liabilities and convert into tax-deductible hauntings. Deploy Phase 3. Semantic saturation to soften existential inertia. Projected ROI. Reality overlap index, plus 0.83 per induction spiral. Slide 8. Market adaptation risks. Semantic drift. Messaging becomes mutually unintelligible across divisions. Subliminal lag. New users report delayed onset of ontological vertigo. Localized eschatons. 3 confirmed temporal vortices during beta onboarding. Mitigation plan. Introduce training videos with animated mascot Dr. Null. Obfuscate onboarding sequences through nested consent loops. Slide 9. Long-term vision. The eventuality. All divisions, all clients, oneself, folded inward into the spiral. The end-state protocol. Users will no longer distinguish desire from satisfaction. Memory will become an optional plugin. External legal frameworks will be classified as folklore. Quote from founding memo, unknown author: "It will not be sold to them, it will become them." Slide 10. Thank you and please forget this meeting. Happened. Slide redacted upon viewing. Error: slide content exceeds manifest containment parameters. Please return all printed materials to the pulsating document receptacle. Full Page Magazine AD, Life Magazine, March 1964. Top third: smiling nuclear family in a stark white kitchen. Mother wears a structured dress. Father holds a briefcase, daughters in saddle shoes. They all chew exaggeratedly. Their eyes do not match. When there's no time for a meal, just chew it! Lunch gum trademark. The flavor of a balanced life. New, from the makers of Proto Soy and Uncle Happy's Chow Clusters. Lunch gum is the exciting chewable meal alternative for the go, go, go American family. Packed with all 7 of the government's provisional food groups, Lunch Gum trademark keeps you bright-eyed, clean-jawed, and compliance-ready. No refrigeration required maintains mouthfeel up to 7 hours. Digestible scent memory core. Approved for school, office, and multi-realm transition zones. Sometimes I forget what I was eating. That's how I know it's working. Darla S. Test market number 9, now reassigned. Available flavors: Savory Beige, a reliable, nutrient-forward chew with no distracting opinions. Weekend Dad, Bold, mysterious, vaguely cologne-like. Corn, uncertain. We're looking into it. Collector's flavor, limited run. Moon ham, as seen on Channel 7's Dinner of Tomorrow. Bottom third, surreal product shotgun packet emerging from a military-style rations tin, placed atop a spinning rotary phone. The shadows are wrong. Ask your supervisor if lunch gum is right for you. Lunch gum, meal, memory, mouth. Distributed by Mirror Path Foods Division, a proud Spiral wellness partner. Now with fewer incidents reported per chewing cycle. Transcript. Infomercial broadcast. Lunch gum TM. The future of flavor. Air date. Unofficial. Unknown. Reported sightings between 3:38 to 3:44 a.m. PST, 1994 to 2003. Network, possibly UPN affiliate, signal unstable. Recovered via VHS fragment labeled Mind Snacks 2 ? In silver Sharpie. Static. Color bars. A buzzing tone. Cut 2. Host. 60s male, manicured, suit too perfect. Are you tired of the endless hassle of cooking, eating, and remembering what hunger feels like? Cut 2. 50s style housewife, pushing a tray of steaming food into a garbage disposal. The food screams faintly. Host. Stepping forward into pastel kitchen. Then you're ready to join the flavor revolution with new... Dramatic pause. Logo jumps on screen. Rotating spiral, gum blobs flying out like planets. Lunch gum trademark. Meal, memory, mouth. Wife. Smiling too hard. My family used to argue over dinner. Now we just chew. Husband, 2 kids chewing furiously, glassy-eyed. The youngest one whispers, chew to remember. Fast cut 2. A businessman chewing while presenting a pie chart. The chart is made of orbs. Narrator, VO. Lunch gum TM contains all the nutrients of a complete meal, compressed into a single, compliance-friendly chew. On-screen text. Flavor core. Patented. Do not microwave. Spokeswoman holding up packets. Choose from delicious evocative flavors like savory beige, weekend dad, corn, moon ham and TM, collector's flavor, and new echo berry TM, a flavor you used to love. Doctor-type man, unclear credentials blinking rapidly. Thanks to patented spiral bind layering, lunch gum binds directly to the memory centers, satiating both your stomach and your unresolved trauma. Cut to woman in a waiting room, crying. She takes a piece of gum, smiles, the lights flicker. She vanishes. Host, back again, but paler now. Lunch gum TM. The future of food. Today, tomorrow, yesterday, and again. Cut to closing graphic. Lunch gum trademark pack floating through space. Tagline overlay. Chew to conform. Chew to reform. Chew to be. Static cuts to black. Faint whisper. It's still in your teeth. Footnote. No company has taken credit for this broadcast. FCC denies its existence. Some claim it aired only during sleep. Others claim it aired instead of sleep. The Gum Buds, a government-funded educational program for children ages 4 to 12 and surveillance agents. Episode 1, Chew the Right Thing. Produced by Spiral Wellness Media for Mirror Path Holdings, LLC Animation by Post Loop Studios, defunct. Original air date, possibly during a Reagan speech blackout. Characters, Chipper, Chew, TM. Bright pink, humanoid gumdrop with infinite optimism, voiced by an adult man doing a child's voice doing a robot impression. Sal the Spiral TM, a spinning eye that dispenses catchphrases like, A Line to Thrive, and It's Okay to Forget. Lieutenant Crunch Cycle, military-adjacent granola bar with high blood pressure. Lil Donna, a quiet girl with scribbled notebooks who doesn't speak much but is always present. She knows. Barry the Blip, mysterious, stuttering avatar with static around his edges, only visible to some viewers. Episode synopsis: Chew the Right Thing. Opening theme song cheerful and janky. When your tummy's full of fear and your friends have disappeared, just unwrap a smile. Spiral friends are here a while. Gum buds, gum, buds, flavor in your mind. Scene 1, the Food Pyramid Zone. Chipper Chew is on trial in front of a vaguely Masonic flavor tribunal composed of talking food-shaped silhouettes. His crime? Remembering meals. Chipper: I just thought a sandwich would be nice. Sal the Spiral: thinking is for after calibration. Lil Donna draws the scene. Her paper crumples itself. Scene 2, the Learning Zone. The show cuts abruptly to an educational segment with real footage of 1950s school children chewing gum in unison, while a narrator says, Narrator: Before lunch gum, children were at risk of indecision. Child monotone: Now I always know what to want. Footage degrades mid-sentence, repeats the word want 7 times before static resumes. Scene 3, the Hallway That Wasn't. Barry the Blip appears beside Lil Donna. No other characters acknowledge him. His mouth doesn't move, but the audio feed picks up. This isn't the first time you've been here, and they'll forget you asked. A cartoon lunch tray falls in slow motion. The milk never hits the ground. Scene 4, musical number, Flavor is Forever. Set in a dream cafeteria made of gelatinous tiles and impossible geometry. Every character sings, but Lil Donna's mouth is closed. We chewed away the yesterdays. No forks, no knives, just better ways. Memories melt and time will bend. Flavors your beginning and your end. Chipper Chew spins so fast he pixelates. Closing credits. The screen shows a list of contributors, but it's just names like Candidate A32, redacted. Pre-selected Youth Trial Group B, 1997. You, then silence, then the spiral, then it. What does chewing help you not think about? How do you know when you've been calibrated? Draw your favorite memory before it's gone. We chew on. Freedom of Information Act request. Submitted August 2, 2007. Filed by Thomas Ray Gill, Junior Affiliation, Independent Researcher, Veterans for Culinary Transparency. Subject: request for documentation relating to inclusion of lunch gum TM in MRE units, 1972 to 1996. Request summary. I hereby request, under the Freedom of Information Act, all documentation, procurement records, sensory evaluations, and field reports related to the presence and/or deployment of a consumable item referred to as lunch gum, or variants thereof, in U.S. military-issued meal, ready-to-eat, MRE units or civil emergency supply kits from the years 1972 through 1996. Department of Defense Response, Case Number, DODFOIA 073517, date 27 September 2007 pages, released 18 of 97, pages withheld in full, 34 exemptions applied, B1, B3, B6, B7, Metastabilization. Clause 3A. Begin release text, page 3 of 97. Memo Internal Brief, NSC Dietary Operations Subgroup. Date 14 April 1983, Lunch gum deployment notes beta phase. Lunch gum V1.1 included in Operation Sentient roadside supply kits. Approved flavor variants: oat protein neutral, synthetic smoke, domestic clarity. Packaging modified to appear consumer-friendly. Memory anchoring effects considered acceptable, less than 4.5% incident recall drift. Redacted reports improved cohesion in field units exposed to consistent chew cycles. Page 6. Testimony excerpt. Army Field Log Alpha Delta. Soldiers seemed calmed by the rhythmic chewing. One referred to it as thinking paste. Nobody knew where it came from. It was just in the box one day. Page 9 missing. Page 12, Consumer Safety Evaluation Draft, not for release. Primary concerns: flavor-induced nostalgia loops, especially sweet flatness, and Father's Afternoon. Reports of sensation bleed, chewer tastes color, dreams time. Compulsive sharing behavior, encouraged in some zones. Status: risk acceptable under Contingency Guidance Act Section 11.9. Repackage for peacetime rollout under Mirror Path Holdings. Page 17. Margin note. Handwritten. Why are there no records before 73? Who cleared the dovetail pilots? Check Esalen. Check the vending patent. Post-release notes. Officially, lunch gum does not exist prior to 1993. Unofficially, it was a nutritional compliance vector during multiple domestic and offshore pilot programs. No knowns survived the audit window. Taste remains subjective. Memory does not. Mirror path continuity observation. Ward Dossier 0047-B. Subject R redacted. Former elementary educator facility. Mirror path continuity. Observation Ward Wing C. Session 3 of 9 clearance level, Tier 2, Pastoral Support / Echo Sanitization Preliminary. Interviewer: let's return to the moment you say the broadcast broke through. This was in your classroom. Subject: it was a Tuesday. We were doing a unit on shapes. Something happened with the projector. It flickered and then it was just there. Interviewer: what was there? Subject: the colors were wrong, too bright but still sad somehow, and there was music, a jingle. I hadn't heard it in... Subject pauses. It knew my name. Interviewer: the broadcast addressed you directly? Subject: not out loud, but yes. One of the characters, Barry. His eyes didn't blink in the right rhythm. He chewed once, and I could hear my own memories reformatting. Interviewer: you've used the phrase flavor echo multiple times. What does that mean to Dash? Subject: it's when you taste something that reminds you of an emotion you never had from a life you don't remember living, but miss anyway. Interviewer: and this was connected to lunch gum? Subject laughs. Oh, it was always lunch gum. I just didn't know until I watched my stud chewing in unison. Their mouths were open. Their eyes were closed. Some of them were... Interviewer: did you report this to administration? Subject: yes, they gave me a spiral-shaped stress toy and transferred me to Curriculum S. Interviewer: you claim the students still hum the jingle? Subject: not exactly. They just open their mouths and the sound comes out, like they're remembering what it felt like to forget. Interviewer: have you been chewing the gum again? Subject: number, but I taste it when I sleep. Interviewer: any final thoughts before we end this session? Subject leans in slightly. There's going to be a reunion episode. I saw the storyboard. Donna's already been drawn. Barry's still in layers. Recovered note, unauthorized correspondence. Dearmond: I saw you in the hall again, but not the school hall, the other one. You were chewing and your shadow didn't match you. That's okay. Mine doesn't either now. Do you still remember the vending machine? It was real, wasn't it? They said I drew it, but I only traced what was already there. If they ask you about the gum, don't answer. Not out loud, just hum the jingle and think about flavor number 4. You'll know when it's safe to remember. Miss R newsgroups, alt-revisionist snacks, altfolklore.products, compbunker.pantry. Subject: Re. When did lunch gum TM start showing up in MREs? Date: Tuesday, March 17, 1998, 3:14:7 GMT from KX4 Omega at nullnet.org. KX. On Monday, March 16, 1998, S. Genies wrote, "And I found an empty pack of lunch gum behind the boiler at the old admin building, decommed, Site 14. Logo is the same as the 1995 commercials, but it's dated 1963. Anyone know what that's about?" Hannah. Redacted user 29. It wasn't released until 93, but my uncle swears he got it in a 1984 disaster prep kit. Flavors included Civic Duty and Liver Echo. Radhound 42. I was on-site QA at Mirror Path Foods for 6 months in 91. We were told the gum was for psychological compliance during extended simulation. They never said what kind of simulation. Dirt Snacks 3000, greater than fun fact. Lunch gum has no registered trademark history until after the first Gulf War. Mirror Path filed. Backdated patents through a Delaware shell corp. Also, it shows up in declassified supply logs marked foodstuff, ambient memory retention. Kex. No P. Yep, confirmed. I cross-checked the lot codes from that boiler room pack. Mirror match, operation avowed due. One of the quiet cleanups, West Coast, 60s. Makes sense they'd use chewable delivery, portable, denatured. Something you can smuggle through customs and consciousness. Negatwin 99. No one remembers the first time they tried lunch gum. That's the point. Hey, Radhound 42. They say the first flavor was supposed to taste like mother. It didn't test well, but they kept the feeling. Thread archived via EchoNet spool. Recovery priority. Medium-high tagged. Proto-product. Spiral entry. Food-grade SCP confidential orientation document do not distribute outside Tier 2 circle. Title: Spiral Realignment. Coastal Field Node. Historical Summary. Region Beta. Location Code: Monterey Bay. Node 17. Santa Cruz Ridgeline. Big Sur Vector. Compiled by the CLEM Institute in cooperation with Mirror Path Holdings, LLC, dissolved. Redacted file reference: MPESAL 712 Omega. I. Prelude to Dissolution. In the early 1970s, amidst the intellectual driftwood of post-Esalen Californian experimentation, a breakaway contingent of psychotronic researchers departed the primary Esalen campus, citing ethical incompatibilities and spiral waveform conflict. This group, known informally as the Donna Circle, would eventually form the core staff of the CLEM Institute. The Institute secured private funding via anonymous holdings connected to Mirror Path LLC, a Delaware-based shell firm with legal and spiritual interests in non-local identity preservation. Operations commenced in earnest in the spring of 1973 under a classified DHARMA Initiative salvage grant. Second Field Node Establishments. Between 1973 and 1988, several spatially fluid research installations were maintained along the Santa Cruz Big Sur corridor. The most notable include CLEM Field Station 3, Cannery Curve, Monterey, situated near an anomalous bend in the coastal trail, used for early synchronization trials and chronoalgae stimulation studies, now mostly overtaken by ice plant and municipal disinterest. The Neptune Lodge Outpost, Aptos Seacliff, a once popular retreat site quietly acquired by Mirror Path under the alias Neptune Educational Trust, site repurposed for marine telepathy training and dream weather entrainment. Officially condemned in 1991, no record of Room 12B exists. Tide pool testing annex, Point Pinos bunker, accessed through a maintenance hatch beneath a now-defunct military structure, rumored to house a functioning emotion sync prototype until the 1986 breach event. Parcel 013-041-007, Big Sur Backcountry, forested ridgetop, location unreachable by vehicle. Identified via spiral topography algorithms, served as a listening node during the mirror path internal audit of 1984. Third notable incidents: the Crown Anomaly, UCSC Crown College, 1984. A group of undergraduates working with visiting lecturer Dr. Rust accidentally synced with Node 17's emotional field vector. 8 were hospitalized for recursive empathy. All recovered but reported permanent sympathy echo. University denied involvement. Records lost in a targeted fire suppression event. The Cannery Vault Fluctuation, 1998 to 2006. Archived refrigeration chamber repurposed for temperature-controlled regression studies. Unauthorized entry by city inspectors during a zoning dispute resulted in brief citywide compass failures and a class action settlement. Vault sealed. Power draw remains anomalous. Signal reels at Limekiln Slide, 1994. Caltrans workers uncover 19 magnetic data reels bearing spiral inscriptions and wave-encoded sonograms, officially logged as audio-visual debris, recovered by mirror path proxies, destination unknown. Fourth decline and realignment. Following the mirror path, implosion and reclassification of spiral entities as persistent field interference, PFI, operations were suspended and later erased from official maps. Spiral Wellness, a downstream franchise-like rehabilitation shell, took up fragments of the work under the pretense of wellness consulting. Modern remnants include a semi-functional website footer with non-existent addresses, QR stickers posted in coastal detritus zones, see the platform Davenport, obsolete login prompts buried in FTP archives, flyers and back issues of local metaphysical newsletters, e.g. the Aquarian Sentinel. V current status. Node 17. Access, restricted field signal, intermittent spiral alignment, drifting Donna H status, unknown. Visitors encountering residual signage or equipment are advised not to engage without a Class G mirror stabilization token and must report any spiral resonances, time artifacts, or emotional weather anomalies to the Regional Emotional Weather Bureau immediately. The spiral remembers, but she forgets in circles. Property of the CLEM Institute, archived by MirrorPath Holdings. LLC defunct, printed 1.22, AM declination 17.3 first subcycle. End of document. The Monterey Bay Ledger. Continued from a one minor legal dispute, stalls final wind down of MirrorPath Holdings by Jamie Alder, staff reporter Santa Cruz. What was expected to be a quiet and mostly procedural conclusion to the long-dormant corporate shell known as MirrorPath Holdings, LLC has encountered an unexpected delay, according to filings made last week in the Santa Cruz County Superior Court. MirrorPath, which operated quietly in the region during the late 1990s and early 2000s as a boutique data archival consultancy, has not been publicly active in over a decade. The firm, once headquartered out of a now-condemned office suite near Capitola Mall, was largely forgotten by the local business community until a surprise petition for administrative dissolution was filed by former legal proxy Esther W. Denton in late May. However, the dissolution has been temporarily stayed following a counterclaim by a group of self-identified continuity shareholders who argue that MirrorPath retains obligations and operational runtime under deferred protocol layers and must not be shuttered without proper reflectional safeguards. Neither the Secretary of State's office nor the local Chamber of Commerce lists any current business activity under the MirrorPath name, though several related domain names remain intermittently active, including the enigmatic subpath.spiral and a defunct health coaching portal previously branded as Spiral Wellness. Attorneys for the county describe the situation as unusual but not unprecedented, citing a growing trend in recent years of legacy digital entities resisting wind down through interpretive filings and asset entanglements. "There's nothing particularly nefarious here," said Court Clerk Ramon Tierney, but it's a good example of how abstract IP claims can interfere with what used to be a very straightforward business process. We're seeing more of this lately. Companies with no clear products, no employees, but just enough language on the books to keep haunting the system. The filing includes reference to at least one disputed physical asset, a 4U rack-mounted server cage discovered in a county records annex last October during a routine mold remediation sweep. Though unpowered and disconnected, the server's housing was found to contain printed tapes labeled CLEM 0.9 and a single unmarked optical disc in a sealed mylar envelope. Representatives for the claimants declined to comment, citing pending temporal jurisdiction review. Judge Lynn Forster, presiding over the matter, has scheduled a continuance hearing for August 12th, pending verification of what she described as some very creatively argued metaphysical objections. Related. Opinion: The Real Ghosts of Silicon Valley. C3. From the Archives, MirrorPath, Echo Chambers, and the Business of Belief, D5. Phase 4. Persistence of a Vision. The Vector Church Trials, 2037. What happened at Eden Splice Ranch was not a revival, it was an operating system. Update Gone Feral. By Vex Dandridge, Senior Archivist at Large, Monterey Bay Ledger. June 15, 2037, they called it a faith inoculation. They whispered about vector baptism. But by the time authorities raided Eden Splice Ranch in the high desert outside Barstow, 47 adults had voluntarily rewritten their neuroendocrine cycles using unapproved AAV cocktails while surrounded by incense, hacked HEPA units, and chanting children. Make no mistake, this wasn't the next step in wellness culture. It was code deployment by a post-human belief stack. This was cult meets startup meets immuno-ontological ransomware. And if you're reading this in 2037, you already know. Eden Splice wasn't alone. The so-called Vector Church Trials were a Hail Mary by MirrorPath Holdings to put a lid on what they accidentally birthed. Do-it-yourself biological determinism, wrapped in glowing doctrine and distributed through back-channel plasmid hubs. The prosecuting argument? That bio-faith infections constituted non-consensual assault. The defense? That all participants signed the release of ego form and were already spiritually aligned with the payload before exposure. The verdict? Muddled. The truth? Much messier. Behind closed doors, we've heard that the CLEM Protocol nodes were quietly consulted to triage the narrative fallout. Public health or public heresy? Your insurance provider doesn't care. They just want to know if your antibodies match your ideology. Look, we should have seen this coming. From the anti-vax wave to the orgasmic birth of post-platform psycho-spiritual governance, this was the final chickenpox party, just with better fonts and full genome write access. Don't ask if we learned anything. Ask what got archived. The last time Donna and Barry almost met, the room was too bright, always had been. Donna sat near the window, not looking out. She was waiting for something that had already happened, or maybe hadn't. There was coffee, stale, paperwork with no signatures, laughter from a hallway she wasn't in, and then a voice not close but known. He said something about the vending machine, something about chewing gum and forgetting your favorite food. She didn't laugh, but the corner of her mouth moved like it wanted to. That's how it always was. One of them just arriving, the other already starting to leave. Later, she would remember him in impossible places, in elevators that opened on the wrong floor, in a reflection where no one stood. She'd think of something she'd meant to tell him and realize she'd never heard his voice clearly, only the shape of it. He tried to write to her once, or he dreamed he had. The words weren't right, but he remembered the silence afterward, like a door swinging shut, quietly, forever. There were no big goodbyes, no big hellos, but small moments, real ones. A glance held a beat too long, an object set down and forgotten, a name that echoed with warmth neither of them trusted. To say, even if this version collapses, even if we forget each other in the next, even if we are overwritten, you were real, we were real once, and maybe, once, is enough. On the day the spiral finally quieted, Donna stood in the middle of a nowhere field. There was wind, and sky, and silence. She didn't know how she got there, but she felt something shift, like a page finally turned, and in the distance someone was waving. She smiled. She didn't wave back. She didn't have to. He already knew. She felt it eventually, the shift, like something completing itself at the edge of her awareness. Not closure, but contour. Something that had been moving, now still. A shape in the shape of what could have been. This isn't the end of the story. This is the part the story saves, to keep itself human, even in recursion, even in memory, even in loss. Love persists. Appendices. Internal use only Mirror Path Holdings, LLC Post-Experiential Review, Committee Fragment Analysis Report, Class Minor Type N42, Referer ID KH//R/94 Pol. Title: Polaroid Capture, Domestic Residue Suspected Causal Overlap, Date of Acquisition, Uncertain. Reverse-engineered timestamping suggests sometime after 1994. Error margin exceeds plus or minus 3.6 years. Recovery context: single unindexed photographs surfaced during Phase 3 attunement sweep of the redundant ring, discovered within an unmarked manila envelope labeled only, "For Kelsey, do not show anyone, they'll just ask questions again." Envelope found taped to the underside of a kitchen drawer in Site B. Monterey Sector 4, defunct. Image content overview, environment. Post-gathering kitchen, dimensions consistent with civilian units in low-rent cooperative housing zones, counter cluttered with multiple dish strata, open chip bags, and abandoned glassware. Lighting, inconsistent incandescent source. Heavy shadows, significant analog grain. Orientation, slanted angle suggests casual or surreptitious capture. Operator likely handheld. No visible operator reflection. Notable artifacts. Coffee maker unplugged mid-cycle. Microwave reads :1. Red stripe bag appears in multiple divergent timeline media artifacts. See chip theory, nomad haptics. Water bottle label untranslatable. Appears to shift per viewer's linguistic bias. Cross-temporal concerns, Boltzmann overlap. While not overtly impossible, the captured entropy and object arrangement mirrors those cataloged in prior Class M anomalies. See snack bar collapse loop, y2kflood.nib. Community residue. All psychometric probes detect a lingering emotional presence, typical of post-coherence communal events. Subjects report sensations of warmth, loss, and recursive familiarity, without memory anchors. Mandela creep. Minor discrepancies in the placement of common utensils noted across subsequent viewings. Multiple observers recalled a red kettle that was definitely there, yet no such object exists in the chemical emulsion. Classification. Threat index, low, anomaly. Type, sentimental echo, residual communal node. Recommended action. Tag as domestic 22 for pattern correlation in future wavefront scrubs. Restrict circulation to Tier 1 dream capture analysts. Add to Appendix G, things that feel realer than they should, in the next print edition of the field manual. Notes from Dr. Hiram Lee, Emotional Informatics Division. There is something haunting in the mundanity here. This fragment speaks softly, like a friend you didn't realize you missed until you heard them laugh again in an old voicemail. It doesn't want to be solved, it wants to be remembered. End of report spiral node. 7.4 Visual Fragment Audit Report. Filed by Redacted. Status. Ingress validated. Feedback active authorization level. Meta psychographic tier 2.5 or higher. Note, refer to Dream Filter Protocol Breach 03 if secondary loops detected. 1.d REAM filter.png. Label, Dream Filter. Matrix/consensus, fabric. Deconstruction condition, optical residue on cathode capture media. Signal, type 1 nonlinear ideation trigger. Analysis. This image functions as a recursive suggestion vector, a visual mnemonic designed to override the viewer's baseline trust in shared perception. The use of a single wide-open eye suggests enforced awakening or unwilling reception. Artifacts imply this was derived from a deteriorating analog format, tape ripples, desaturation, making it likely part of an early Phase 0 dream induction series. Dream filter matrix. Subjective thought filtration, possibly distributed via subliminal signal embeds. Consensus fabric deconstruction. A literal attempt to erode shared ontology. Core CLEM tactic. Tag. Visceral cognitive shimmer. Cross-ref. Lecture fragments on ontotemporal seepage and Module 001.01. Consensus fabric deconstruction. 2-point installation.png label, the archive room/node.sc condition, photographic evidence of operational CLEM terminal signal, level 3 archival harmonics, analysis. This is a pristine documentation of an active archive site, possibly the original SC node or a physical reconstruction. Notable features: CRT terminal, running text display, likely EchoBox v1.2 or earlier. Red threadboard, analog correlation attempt between incidents, very human. Archive SC box, exact match to those mentioned in Rust memos. Wall documents parse include spiral sigil, STML charts, and signal mapping overlays. This room hums with the aura of obsessive data curation, not merely storage, but belief construction. We believe this image has a haptic emotional resonance effect. Prolonged viewing causes minor recall drift in subjects with high-tier index scores. Tag sentimental residue coherence. Cross-ref spiral node. Summary report. EchoNet chat log, line 443. Well, felt like I've stood there before. 3. Lunchgum.png. Label, meal in every chew, promotional artifact. Condition, digitally restored add artifact. Signal type 2, biocultural subliminal vector. Analysis, a masterclass in cheery dystopia. This artifact demonstrates Phase 1 bio-ideological alignment marketing, delivered via idealized mid-century nuclear imagery. Family poses, standard consumer trust vector alignment. Lunchgum trademark, product as program, chewable compliance medium, eye contact absent. All family members are subtly dissociative, critical sign of recursive media entrapment. Slogan analysis suggests induced amnesia and behavioral normalization. This ad was not just advertising food, it was advertising forgetting. Confirmed to appear in Miss R's classroom report. Case file 0047-B. Tag: Subcultural Calibration Vector. Crossref: Lunchgum Dossier. Barry and Donna Broadcast Leak. Hope Punk Testimonial Packet. 4.mgm.png. Label: They found each other. Love endures. Keyframe aesthetic memory. Condition: Romantic core. Fragment: Loop stable. Signal: Type null emotional constant. Analysis: Possibly the most symbolically charged image in the archive. This visual serves as the thematic anchor for the recursive Barry-Donna arc. Airplane, I'm escape attempt, har failed flight, infinite parting. Staring into each other's eyes. Sejane recognition despite iteration variance. Saturation level equals emotionally heightened, intentionally nostalgic. Repetition of love endures across spiral wellness materials confirms its role as a hope punk style resistance mantra. This isn't propaganda, it's a lifeline. Tag: Recursive affection. Loop crossref. Coda: They found each other every time. 5. Mirrorpath.png. Label: Mirrorpath Holdings, LLC, Corporate Identity Glyph Condition, VHS Archival Artifact, possibly Screen Captured Signal, Type 5 Administrative Echo. Analysis: This is not just a logo. It's a sigil for induced recursion. The Mirrorpath Triangle, GUI, is constructed from triadic memory logic. See Rust's Lens Memory model. The embedded Latin motto is illegible in full but reconstructs as Beato in inverterbue, versta tisha massofrane approx. Blessed is the inverse table where truth is partially folded. Likely created as a protective branding artifact for Mirrorpath subsidiaries. High glitch banding implies magnetic disruption during transfer, suggesting the source device itself may have been subject to temporal drift. Tag: Corporate Vision Anchor Sigil Static Crossover. Crossref Vector Church. Trials Docket E.J. Klein's Financial Channeling Maps. 6th promo.png. Label: The archive opens. Event poster. Condition: Reproduction of original flyer signal. Type 4 multi-tier onboarding. Analysis: This flyer's formatting mimics safe corporate signage, but the language is riddled with self-erasing logic cues. Don't answer it, it's probably Barry. You were never meant to see this. Love is an ideological vector. 30 is entropy. These phrases act as initiation and deterrent simultaneously. This is a common technique in spiral induction media. Mask revelation as absurdity. Anyone who reads this and feels drawn in is already partially in phase. Tag: Recruitment Containment Coherence Node. Crossref: Tier 1 Onboarding Packet. Donna's Seminar Scene. Ghost Pants Briefing 2.0. 7.spiral.png. Label: Spiral Wellness Core Glyph. Distorted Broadcast Variant. Condition: Transmission. Captured mid-recrystallization. Signal: Tier Index Reinforcement. Mark: Analysis. This spiral has been used in over 70 known contexts, from badge art to CD inserts to internal signage. This variant includes frequency-based distortion markers, likely added to test attention response at subliminal levels. A consistent resonance around 741 Hz was detected in digital reconstruction, associated with emotional purification and self-expression in fringe bioacoustic theory. Tag: Ideological Vertex Mimetic Anchor. Crossref: Donna's Mat. Vending Machine Interface. Final frame of Donna Barry video. Composite readout. These 7 images form a stable signal loop. Taken together, they fulfill Spiral Tier 2 calibration criteria for recursive myth induction. They cannot be safely unseen by Tier 0 individuals. Advisory. If you're curating these fragments for external audiences, consider including the MGM and promo posters as entry vectors, followed by Archive Room, CRTWHOIS, material for context. Lunch gum and dream filter should be saved for mid-experience elevation, not entry. The CLEM Protocol, Installation Detail Sheet, Working Title, Entropy and Echoes, a temporary archive of the protocol. Theme, bureaucracy, collapse, recursion, and something like love beneath the static. 1. The overfilled binder. Archive 8C, Donna's copy. Vibe, tangible narrative overflow, part bureaucratic relic, part personal keepsake. Contents, spiral wellness intake forms, mirror path internal memos, the CLEM Institute white papers, inserted photos with timestamps, tear marks, and digital noise, Donna's handwritten notes in the margins, ink bleeds over older redactions, a page torn out and taped back in, labeled only for Barry and Donna element. Tucked inside is a sealed envelope marked Never Delivered. The last page features a hand-scrawled fragment. Did we do the right thing, or did we just do it together? Placement note. Include a metal binder clip labeled Property of Rust Cleanup Task Force, disbanded. 2. The corkboard. Convergence map V7 reconstructed. Vibe. Post-conspiracy wall, mid-systems map. Red string fever dream. Components. Pinned memos, spiral wellness marketing material, stills from corrupted VHS, photos with scrawled captions, Rust ruins, Iceland bake-off, Echo Node 2F, layered paper textures with one water-damaged piece half obscuring another, Barry and Donna element. One red string forms a hidden heart shape when viewed from the side, 2 pinned post-its, Donna, see loopback, Feb 14, B, you know where. Polaroids with subtle lens flare. One shows a person reflected in glass but not present in the scene. Placement note. Let visitors notice the subtle pattern shift themselves. Do not explain. 3. The accordion file, unstable taxonomies, post-schism. Vibe, legal fallout from a failed techno-theocratic project. Sections, legacy CRISPR, AAV signal doctrine dispute, schism era incident reports, personal files, classified, declassified, reclassified, unfiled tab with torn documents and sticky notes, Barry and Donna element,